Willits is our town. Always has been, and always will be. Like any other town, it changes just a little bit from time to time. So we're here to let you know some of the things that are going on in your town.
If you go down East Commercial to the ball fields area, you'll see a building going up. That's our concession stand for the ball fields. And our building inspector, Frank Howard, is in charge of that project now. And he's doing the work with a lot of community volunteer support. A lot of different contractors are helping out to kind of cut the cost, make it a more affordable building. It will be the bathrooms and concession stand for the new ball fields. And the weather has not been the greatest lately, so we're struggling to keep on schedule with that, but we're hoping to have it completed by the time the ball season opens. So that's something the citizens might stop by and take a look at, and thank your local building supply people and contractors for chipping in and helping the city complete that project. Another project that's been ongoing now for a year or so, we had another grant from the Sustainable Communities Grant and Loan Program. It's a 3-year grant for a water conservation program. And as most people know in the city is facing some difficult water issues with water supply and our whole treatment system. We have an older treatment plant that needs a lot of upgrades, and so we're looking at water conservation as one of the tools to help us reduce the water issues here in the city, the problems that we're having with water supply. Long in the fall, usually we start worrying about how much water we're going to have for the citizens of the community. This grant that we received funds a water conservation specialist that works in my office. His name is Quentin Rowland. More than happy to talk to people about water conservation ideas that they can use in their homes to cut their water use. The grant itself has several parts to it. One part is basically completed, which was to develop a demonstration project for rainwater catchment. And you'll see tanks and those systems at the Willits Integrated Service Center that the county has on Lenore, and another one at the Brookside School Farm, where we are catching rooftop rainwater and collecting it in a tank and then distributing it to the gardens and at those areas. And the hope is there that we can demonstrate to the citizens ways that they can also do this on an individual basis on their own private lots. And if you go around some of the other countries in the world, there are quite a few rooftop catchment systems in place, and we're trying to demonstrate here that it can be done and help people be able to put those in place on their own properties as another way of augmenting their water supply and reducing the demand on the city water supply. Second phase of that grant effort is to develop a gray water recovery system, and the state of California has just taken a big step in making the rules more manageable for doing that. It was a very difficult thing to do here for a number of years, but we are also working to develop a couple of private properties in town. We're working with the private property owners to develop gray water recovery systems on individual residential lots as another demonstration of how people can recycle their gray water and use it to augment their water supply. So that's a second phase of this grant. In conjunction with the water catchment and gray water systems, we're developing these pilot projects to show people how to use what we call low-impact development techniques, such as bioswales, little retention ponds and things on their property to retain water, channel it around on their property. One of our demonstration projects, we worked with the Bradford family on Redwood Avenue, and they have since moved to Oregon, but the present owners are also employing the same techniques and using that system, and the city kind of partnered with them to be able to use that as a demonstration project. So using these bioswales, catching the water from your rooftops, recycling gray water are all techniques to reduce water use in the city's water supply. Hopefully people can be more conservative with their water, cut their own water bills, and have water year-round for gardens and that sort of thing. So that's the focus of that grant. We will be also putting out some educational materials on helping people with their water needs. We will be auditing, helping people audit their water systems by going out and showing them different techniques and things that they can use with their water systems, providing a lot of educational materials, and hopefully even, if the economy cooperates, some kind of a rebate system or program where we could help people purchase new water-saving toilets and devices of that nature. So these are all goals of our water conservation grant. You can call Quentin Rowland at the Community Development Department, and he can explain a lot more. You can also go on the city's website, City of Willits, or willitscity.com, and there's a nice little site there for you to look at our water conservation program. We've just got that up and running, so I have more to add, but for now you can get a little bit of an idea. And the last thing I wanted to talk about was, and I think this is really timely, the city has partnered with the Chamber of Commerce in a Local First campaign, which is focused on promoting and supporting local small business. And a couple of people approached the city not long ago. Bear Kameroff is a local economist, and Richard Willoughby from the Bank of Willits, with the idea of putting on a workshop to assist people in understanding what it takes to start a new business in Willits. And so we're going to be holding a small business, I believe the title is going to be Starting a Small Business in Willits workshop on April 17th, again at the City Hall. And that'll be in the morning from about 9 to 12. And there will be a couple of panels to help people understand what it's like to start a small business and to give them some assistance and some ideas. The first panel, I believe, and we're still working out the details, but Bear Kameroff and Pete Swanton, a local businessman here that I'm sure most of you know, will be talking about just the mechanics of starting a small business and things to think about. There will be another panel following that about financing your small business, and Richard Willoughby will be part of that panel. I believe Madeline Holdcamp and the Economic Development Finance Corporation out of Ukiah will be assisting on that panel to talk about how to finance and things to think about in financing a new business. And then I will be on a panel with the Chamber of Commerce and possibly West Company, another financing organization and organization that helps support small businesses, and talking about the regulatory framework, what you need in terms of regulations, zoning and business licenses and those sorts of things, as well as some financial assistance that's out there, some programs and some help that small businesses can get. So we hope that this will give some people some help in thinking about how to start and run a small business in Willits. And one of the things we've seen, the people that have gotten together to talk about this panel or this workshop, a lot of people have great ideas, but they just are not really sure how to implement those ideas. And they come in without a really good understanding of what it takes to really start a business. And you see an awful lot of people, even though they have a good idea, they don't survive in today's business world. So we're hoping that this gives some people some good basic ideas on how to start and maintain their small businesses. So there are a lot of other things going on in the city and in some of the other departments. We have a major sewer plant upgrade project going on. We have a lot of things happening in our water department, but I will leave those to those department heads. They can come in and explain those to the folks. So those are the main topics I wanted to cover tonight, and just let the people know what's going on. And City Hall's open to the public. They're welcome to come in and ask more questions and find out what we're doing. We're working with the Local First group on Green Week in Willits, which would be starting at St. Patrick's Day, very appropriately. And there will be another hometown celebration type of event to get local merchants out there and showing their wares and having booths and that sort of thing to promote local businesses. There will be a spring cleanup that Tom Woodhouse and his group will be coordinating on Saturday. And then there will be the What Walks spring walk on Sunday. So that's all happening that week of St. Patrick's Day. I believe it's the 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, and 21st of March. Also, as kind of a separate but also coordinated with the other walks, we have worked with the school district in coordinating Walk to School Day, which we have held the last couple of years around the fall of the year to help people get used to the idea of kids starting to walk to school. And we have a couple of Safe Routes to Schools projects that the city is working on. We just got a grant funding for a Safe Routes to Schools project on Blosser Lane, which people in the community know is a very difficult place for kids to walk and bicycle, where we, the city, through these grant funds, are going to make some improvements along Blosser Lane in terms of bike lanes and sidewalks and making it much more pedestrian and bicycle friendly. So those are some of the other walking tasks and projects we're working on. We do have a pedestrian and bicycle specific plan that outlines the existing and proposed walking and bicycle routes for town, the formally accepted ones. The What Walk itself has got a route that we worked out. Our committee with Jed Diamond worked out a route that is 10,000 steps. It's another name for it, roughly 5 miles. We do have a map for that we give out on the day of the event, or people can come by and get one and see where that route is. And we are trying to promote walking and bicycling safely, so we are asking people when they go on these walks to keep their eyes and ears open, let us know what things they see, what dangers or problems they see, and what improvements they recommend. So it's part of our data gathering in a way, at the same time of having a healthy and enjoyable walk. And the other events do also have maps that we can give out that show the routes of these different walks. The water catchment systems, depending on the size and the placement, there's very little permitting normally required unless you do some major work to the house itself or the structure to accommodate it. But the main thing is that the tank has to be located on your property, and it has to adhere to the setback rules. There are normally yard setbacks that you cannot encroach on, so you wouldn't want to be putting the tank right next to the neighbor's window or something like that. But very few regulatory requirements for those types of systems. And most people, I think, would be able to accommodate a small system on their, most of the city lots are 60 by 100 or so, so there's not a lot of room for a large system, but we feel that most lots could accommodate a smaller system, and not all the tanks have to be the large galvanized type tanks. There are some very unique products coming out of this whole science. One of which I've seen is a retaining wall structure, basically is a series of interlocking plastic rectangles that form a wall, and they fill up with water, and you can have a privacy wall or something of that nature instead of just a single tank. Or there are big bladders that you can put under your house that you can store the water in. There are a number of different types of ways you can do it. Yes, people that are contemplating doing something would be well advised to come in and talk to myself or the building inspector and make sure that they're not running afoul of any kind of building code problems. But we don't foresee very many real problems with these.
Good. Was it 5 years ago?
6 October.
Just over 5 years ago, 6 years ago, that really gathered to work towards fostering a sustainable local economy here in the Willits area, and to learn skills and share skills and grow community to get us towards that goal. So what we're going to be doing tonight is we're going to hear from each of our speakers about the projects that they're working on. So hopefully I think we can start with Oliver.
Thank you, Holly, and thank you, Will, and thank you all for coming. Barter is a form of exchange that utilizes goods and services instead of money. I believe all currency is backed by two things. One is faith and one is trust. I believe barter is well suited to small and mid-sized communities and economies. Bartering allows us to monetize our time, utilize our excess capacity, and move our inventory, all at a full value. The barter began with what is known as bidirectional trade, where I have something, you have something, we both want what each other has, we do it, it's a done deal, it's great. But when it arose that one person's goods or services had a different value than another person's goods and services, that's where problems arose, and sometimes trade would break down, which is where what is known as multi-directional trade began with the advent of, say, a trade exchange or a trade broker, or kind of like a middleman, where if I wanted your blackberries, I would say, hey, that flat of blackberries looks really purple and juicy and I really want them. And you say, well, what have you got to trade? I say, well, I can trade my desktop publishing services, and that's great, but you don't need desktop publishing services. So what I would do as a member of this trade exchange, I would go to this trade exchange and as a member be lent trade dollars or credits, say 20 trade dollars. And I would use this 20 trade dollars to pay you for your blackberries. And then you could take this $20, which is trade credits with the trade exchange, and you could turn around and go buy pizza.
Brett, tell us about Mendo Mula.
Okay, well, first of all, I'll tell you I'm not an expert on Mendo Mula. I happen to issue it, and I receive it in my business. Both Mulligan's Books, which is owned by Dave Smith, and Ukiah Brewing Company have approximately maybe up to $3,000 in circulation right now in the Ukiah area. And right now, I didn't realize this until about 2 weeks ago, there's over 30 businesses, local businesses in the Ukiah area or in the county, accepting Mendo Mula. The idea behind this currency, at least I'll tell you in Dave Smith's mind and in my mind, is to have that currency recirculate locally. And if you've heard about the multiplier effect, which I'm sure some of you have, the idea is to not have the currency go out of the county. And the more that we can recirculate it between local businesses, the better. Now, $3,000 isn't necessarily going to have a huge effect, but other communities have put quite a bit of local currency into circulation, and then it can have a much larger effect. But if you spend money in a local business, you could have up to 45% of that money stay locally. But if you're spending money with a company that has employees here, but its corporate headquarters are in Georgia or New York City or even overseas, that normally 13 to 15% of it might actually stay locally.
Okay, Derek.
Yeah. My name's Derek Huntington. I'm president of the Sonoma County Go Local Cooperative. We are really, just like the foundation of our program is a buy local campaign, really trying to educate people on why they should shop locally. And what we're doing is essentially creating an accounting system that allows us to track this value being circulated. So what this system allows you to do as a shopper is to shop at different local businesses in the community, and when you shop and spend money there, they issue back a rebate. So our money is basically being created by the businesses who are buying customer loyalty, essentially. And pretty soon you have a nice little trust network going where, again, you can trade with each other without necessarily needing cash.
So Cindy Logan.
Okay. We started about a year ago a currency called Mendo Food Future Credits. The reasons we started it were, one, to have a local currency to create more local buying. We wanted to encourage bulk food storage. So we also wanted a currency that was backed by something, so we backed it with grain. We only printed as many credits as we had grain to cover. It's not widely used as a local currency. Banks won't take the credits. One of the other things we were trying to accomplish with this was to create a ready market for farmers that would grow grain to have a place to sell grain. We do have farmers now that are growing grain in the county, and we'll have our first grain crop since 1969 come in this season when they come in. So some of the goals we had with this really have, started working. The concept of the grain-backed or backed currency, I think, is still a really good idea.
So thank you, all of you guys. One more thing. Okay. We will have newsroom rights and stuff.
I'm Jed Diamond. I'm the co-founder of the Willits Healthy Action Team. For short, we call it WHAT. And 2 years ago, I decided to get people more involved in health in the community. We really began with two questions that came out of a conference that I had attended. And one question was, as children, when you went to school, did you walk or ride your bicycle? And just about everybody in the audience raised their hand that they had. The second question was, right now, do your children or grandchildren walk or ride their bicycles to school? And almost nobody raised their hand. It was just a stark reminder of how far we've come from a setting where we were quite active growing up. We moved around, we walked a lot, we rode our bicycles, to now a culture where we don't do that so much. We drive cars much more. And so we decided, a group of us, to get together and to form a walk through Willits. And we decided to design it as a 10,000 step walk. Now, the 10,000 step walks were a notion that actually started in Japan in the 1960s, with the idea that if you walk 10,000 steps a day, which is about 5 miles, you'd be healthy, you'd use up an extra 2,500 to 3,500 calories. It would allow you to lose weight, keep your weight down. So we thought it would be a great idea to develop a 10,000 step path through Willits. And the idea of it was that we would link the various schools that would go by so that we could encourage kids to walk, but really to get everybody walking, because we know children follow the models of other people, their parents, their grandparents. If we're walking, they're more likely to walk. So the first walk that we did was in February of 2008. We've had 6 walks altogether. We do 3 walks a year. The next walk that's coming up is on March 21st, 2010. And this will be a Sunday walk. It will be in conjunction with the Willits localization movement and our local business, with the theme of greening the community, the idea that we want to focus on green things, healthy things, growing things. And so there'll be a whole hometown celebration on Friday, the 19th. There'll be a community cleanup event on the 20th, and then on the 21st will be the Willits Walk for Health. Now, what's great about these walks is that it involves the whole community. There are kids that walk, there are adults that walk, there are elders that walk. In fact, all of the walks up until this one have been walked by one of our town elders that has been just a fabulous thing. Abner Liggett started walking our walks when he was 95 years old. So those people that say, I don't know if I can do it, I'm a little old for this. Well, Abner walked starting at 95 when we did our first walk, and he walked the whole 10,000 steps, 5 miles, came back with a big smile on his face. He walked every one of the walks, and unfortunately he won't be walking this one because Abner died not too long ago at the age of 97. But he died, with some health and vigor, and really a role model for all of us to stay active, stay vigorous throughout our lives. So we're really looking forward to inviting the community. It's a free walk. There's no cost. We don't ask for anything. We just want to make it available to the community. It's supported by a lot of volunteers that actively engage the planning, the publicity, the promotion. And we really invite everybody to come and join us on the 21st. And what's interesting beyond the walk itself is that as we've involved the kids in the community, the high school kids were the first to say, we want to be part of this. We want to be engaged. We want to do something. So that at each of the 1,000 steps, there's a station where people stop to get their tags marked that they've made it 1,000 steps. And at each one of the stations, there's 2 or 3 high school kids that have become the cheerleaders that encourage people. And everybody has said that one of the greatest things of the walk is the enthusiasm of the kids and how they support the walkers and people who, in some cases, for the first time have ever walked that far in their life. And when they get there to the 7,000 steps and the 8,000 steps and they see the kids cheering, it's really, they say something that allows them to feel, I can make it, I can do this. And for the kids, when we talk to them, they say, we really, enjoy being able to be engaged with the community in this way, to show our enthusiasm. So the kids now walk. They also are part of the cheerleading team that gets this happening. And we really want to extend this to the community. We want to expand it. We see this central 10,000 step loop through Willits as a way in which we can not only walk the boundaries of our town, it's a way of engaging. We see things in the town that many people don't know about. For instance, there's a garden, a community demonstration project that has edible food along, a little part of the city landscape on Redwood Avenue. And there's trees that have all kinds of fruit trees. There's plants that grow food. And the food is being donated to the Willits Food Bank so that we can take something that's a growing thing and be able to help and feed people in the community. So it's just one of the gems that are along the path that people tell me, wow, there are things in Willits I never knew existed. I didn't know that was there. So again, if people are interested, they can give me a call if they have questions about the walk. My phone number is 459-5505, and I'd be happy to answer questions for people, or if you'd like to help with the upcoming walk on March 21st, we'd love to, have you join us. As we've said, with this gem of a demonstration garden that's along the walk, that all the food that we grow in this little demonstration garden is being donated to the food bank. Yeah, the route is marked. We have footprints that people often comment about, that they are white prints on the sidewalk. Every place there's a turn, so that you first see them, up on the corner of Main Street and Commercial, and the feet turn to the left and heads up West Commercial. And then every time there's a change of direction, you see the footprints that guide you, so you can actually follow the footprints and get yourself around. There's also maps at the Chamber of Commerce that people can get that describe the walk, so that if you're just doing it on your own, you can get a map and walk on your own. I understand that people who come as visitors to the community and often stop by the Chamber of Commerce to say, what's to do in Willits? And Lynn gives them the map and says, if you'd like to take this walk, here it is. And she says it's a fabulous, draw to people not only to come to the community, but to go by our local businesses, to go through the neighborhoods. And it's really a wonderful way for us to get to know our community better, and also people who come to Willits to visit can get to know us better. Well, we know that they are. I walk 2 or 3 times a week through the route, and I see more and more people that are out there and wave at me and tell me they're walking more. I've had doctors in town tell me that people are actually getting healthier, that they said, this walking we know is good health for diabetes, to reduce weight. I know from my own experience as a doctor of psychology that walking can help depression. It can help lower the stress levels in our life. So, there's really a tremendous benefit that we get individually and we get as a community as people walk together, and they get the social benefits of walking with friends and neighbors.
Hi, I'm Paul Kaler. I'm the Willits City Manager. What we're here today demonstrating is the installation of the splashboards, some people call them flashboards, at the Morris Reservoir. This is a critical thing that has to be done every year. We were able to get at the City of Willits permission to install the splashboards early. This adds an additional 110, 125 acre feet of additional capacity here in the Morris Reservoir, which becomes critical later in the dry season. Typically, these splashboards are installed under the normal permit that we have from the state of California about March, I think it's March 1st. But we have permission to install them in the middle of February this year. And we got the fax this morning that allowing the splashboards to be installed, and immediately had the crews mobilized to come out and install them. Hopefully we will get some additional wet weather this weekend, and we'll be able to top Morris Reservoir off with that additional acre feet of water. The issue is this is strategically one of the most important things that's done in the city for its water every year. And being able to do it early is important because it's the later seasonal rains that give us in the town of Willits the additional water to get us through the dry season. It's something that happens every year, but kind of goes under the radar. People don't realize in terms of the importance of the water that's provided throughout the city of Willits, the importance of this installation. And so that's why I wanted to highlight this, is that this has been done. Any additional rains that come will top off our capacity, and like I said, helps us make it through the dry season.
Hi, I'm Sue Sawyers. I am a volunteer at the Willits Senior Center, serving this year as president of the board of directors. I'm here to represent the center and to share with you an upcoming event that we are having at the center. On Friday, March the 5th, that's a week from this coming Friday, from 6 until 7:30 in the evening, we will be hosting a chili cook-off. We would like to invite the community to come and participate, either as a chili cook or as a taster. To participate as a cook, we would ask that you call the center and tell us your name, and we can help sign you up for that. The cost to participate as a cook is $25, and we will be setting up for 12 cooks. There will be a limit to 12 entries. To share your chili with the community, you need to bring 3 gallons of hot chili with a slow cooker or a crock pot or something like that, your own extension cord, and we'll have the rest set up for you. To participate as a taster, the cost is $7 for an adult, $4 for children, and that will entitle you to taste as many and as much of the chili as you would like. Included in that, there will be fresh, hot cornbread muffins to go with the chili. Also available will be root beer floats, ice cream, and beverages that you may purchase separately from the dinner itself. The funds that are raised at the chili cook-off this year will be going to the general budget of the Willits Senior Center. One of the ideas that we would like to get across to the community is that the Senior Center is not just for seniors. We have activities that are open to the entire community, and we would hope that you would start participating now. Don't wait until you're a senior to come out and join us. We have a lot going on, and we would like to see you there. At the cook-off this year, there will be prizes awarded. There are door prizes that will be just drawn from everybody who is present at the cook-off. There will also be prizes for those who have prepared chili. There are 4 prizes that will be awarded that night. The first prize will be for the hottest chili. There will be a prize awarded for the best decorated table and the best costumes worn by the cooks at that table. There will be a prize for the crookedest chili. Chili cooks are known to bribe participants to vote for them. And so there will be a prize for the crookedest group of people preparing chili. The 4th prize will be for the favorite chili, and you as a ticket holder will be voting to choose your favorite chili that night. The stub of your ticket for entrance into the cook-off is your ballot, and there will be containers at the different tables with the chili, and you will be able to vote for your favorite, and that chili will also receive a prize. So you will be participating in selecting the best chili there, or the most favorite, as you have the opportunity to taste. There will be 3 judges from the community who will be judging for the 3 awards that will be awarded. You may want to be careful who you try to bribe. You may be bribing a judge, but then again, that would get you a prize as well. So we do hope that you will come to the chili cook-off, participate. Remember, it's from 6 o'clock until 7:30 on Friday, March 5th at the Senior Center. We do hope that you'll come. Tickets are available from board members, from different volunteers. They are also available at the front desk at the Senior Center if you want to come in beforehand. They will be available at the door as well. So we'll look forward to seeing you there. This is the 3rd annual chili cook-off. And so the bribers get better and better. I remember my first year, one gentleman went around and collected people's tickets so that he could put them all in one container, so that his project would win the prize that year. That year it happened to be the Interact Club from the high school, and he wanted the kids to win. And they did, because he was very persuasive in getting people to give him their tickets. We try to have pictures and taken during the event, and then we also submit a paper or an article to the paper later announcing the winners. In case you come early and don't want to stay until the very end to find out who wins, you will be able to read about it in the paper.
I'm Jed Diamond. I have a doctorate in international health, and I've been quite interested over many, many years. I've been in the field of healthcare for 44 years now. And I decided that I wanted to offer a class here in Willits on weight loss and health. I think so many of us, and I include myself, as years go on, we put on a little weight. Most of us, I think, recognize that we'd like to have more health in our life. We'd like to be more active. So I decided to offer a free class to people in Willits that we started in January. And the class is set up as a 6-session class. And we cover 6 major topics that I've found over the years are really critical in helping people improve their health. The first one, we look at eating and how to eat, what not to eat. Secondly, we look at movement, which I prefer to describe rather than exercise, that often people feel weighty and heavy about, but movement of all kinds is beneficial. Thirdly, we look at stress reduction. So much of our health and well-being it revolves around the levels of stress that we have and how to reduce stress. Fourth, we look at the emotional sides of health and how our emotions impact our health and well-being. The fifth thing that we look at is, how we can engage ourselves more with community support, and how the food that we eat and the movement that we do, how does that relate to the larger community? And the sixth level that we work at is, how do we get support? I think we all have an idea of what to do, but how do we practice? How do we keep it going? What kind of support do we need? So what we decided is we would develop this class. I offered it every Thursday night from 5:15 until 6:30. We've gotten a tremendous amount of community support already for the class. The Seventh-day Adventist Church, which is very health-oriented, offered their Friendship House, which is next to their church, as a meeting place. So we meet there every week. It's a very comfortable living room type setting. The class is open to everybody. You can drop in for a class, or you can come and do the whole 6-class segment. We're just now finishing the first segment, and we're finding now that there's tremendous interest in doing it again, so we're going to do that. It's an interesting connection between the class and the community in many ways. One is that we although the class is free, we ask that people make a financial commitment to their own health and well-being, because I find that when we make a financial contribution to anything, we're more committed to it. We believe in it more. But rather than take the money to pay for the class, what we're doing is taking all the money that people put into the pot, and we donate it after every class to the food bank. And so my idea is that those of us that have a little extra weight that we carry, a few extra calories, in a way we can then give that through our donations to people in our community who really need a few more calories, who really need more food. And it's been a tremendous success that way. We've, in the first 4 classes, we raised over $700 that we gave to the food bank. So every class we kind of pass the hat, people put the money in, and at the end of the class I meet with Jim Merrill, the head of the food bank, and pass on the money that we raised. And people say it's both a great motivator for them to come to the class because they know that they're contributing to something, and we know that the money really goes to a really good place and helps others that could benefit from having some food when they need it. And my thinking on this is that I think we're going to have more difficult times ahead. I think the services in our community we know are getting cut back, that there's less and less available by way of funds and public funds. And so my idea is that more people, I think, are going to be motivated, as I have been as a professional and as just a knowledgeable person, to say, let's offer a class for our community that isn't tied in necessarily with the community structures, and just a class that says, this is something I want to offer, this is something I want to give, and if there's enough people that want to come and contribute, we can all, in a sense, help each other become healthier in our lives. And what we know is that the benefits of each of us getting healthier, we find reverberate through 3 degrees. That is, if I'm healthier, it induces a friend to be healthier. And not only that, but my health behavior influences my friend's friend, and actually my friend's friend's friend. So 3 degrees out, changes in health behavior can harm us. That is, if we put on weight, we're going to influence weight gain to 3 degrees out. And as we lose weight and we're healthier, we can also influence 3 degrees out. So imagine that if we had, a whole community starting to be healthier, we could impact the health of our entire neighborhoods, our entire city. And that's really what I'm hoping to do, is to really make this a healthy place for everybody to live. The classes are ongoing. They're every Thursday night from 5:15 until 6:30. The address where the classes are held is 363 West Mendocino. And if people have want more information, if people would like more information, they can call me at 459-5505, and I can tell you more about the class and more information about what we do and how we meet. But again, it's open for anybody to drop in. You can come for one class, or you can come for 6 at a time, and hopefully for many of us that find this of benefit, it's an ongoing class that you'll want to do over and over again.
So that's about it for now. Things are happening in Willits, as they always are, and things are changing, as they always do. Yet it's still the same familiar hometown we've all come to know and appreciate for what it is. We'd like to know what's happening with you, with your families, and the organizations which would not exist without your efforts and support. So give us a call at 459-2528 and let us know what's going on with you. Maybe you'll be a part of our next story. Keep tuned and join us next time to see what's happening this week in Willits.